One of the big problems you can have as being a seasonal watcher in the vast world of anime releases is finding an anime that actually interests you, getting hyped about said anime, getting ready to watch it, only for it to complete and utterly disappoint you. And sure, part of that is your fault for getting excited for a property you have absolutely no experience over, but at the same time, anime and stories in general are supposed to capture you with its whimsy and writing and such, so for you to be excited about it through its premise only for you to be disappointed does kind of suck. And unfortunately, it happens more than you think. And today's anime is going to be that exact anime because I had a lot of confidence when going into this anime. I thought this was at the very least going to be an anime that I had a personal attachment to, or at the very most, go ahead and be a seasonal banger. And that anime is, of course, I may be a receptionist, but I will solo any boss to clock out on time. And no, I'm not saying the name constantly. It's too long. Now, like I said before, this was an anime I was super excited for because when I read the title and I heard about the premise, I even watched the trailer, I was really excited about this. There was a lot that caught my eye. The fact that this could be a really interesting comedy about a receptionist having to go ahead and fight all these different type of bosses and the absurdity that comes with that, and just the world and how it reacts to someone who is a receptionist who no one would expect to be such a good fighter actually being one of the best. Plus, I will say Alina's design is really adorable. I don't know what it is about specifically the way her head and her facial features are, but it's very cute, it's very adorable, and I love it quite a lot. And you know what? I will admit, at first, it was kind of funny, and it was entertaining. It caught my eye in the first couple of episodes, and I was sure going to, at the very least, treat it as an anime I was going to have fun with. But unfortunately, as I kept watching the anime, and as I kept going through it, trying to give it more and more chances for it to really reel me in more and more, the less I found myself wanting to watch it. And by the time I actually went ahead and actually finished the entire season, I was completely underwhelmed, totally unsatisfied, and just very disappointed. Which does really suck too, because there is something there. It doesn't seem like it, but this show does have something to it, and there is premises and multiple different ideas that do work. My issue with it is that it never wants to latch onto anything, kind of ping pong all over the place, and when you do that, you don't develop anything. See, whenever you create a type of story, you should at least have some idea of what identity you want it to have, whether it be a comedy about a receptionist just soloing every boss, or a more deeper story about a receptionist going through her trauma and trying to overcome that. Either one of these premises that they do bring up within the anime could have been perfectly fine to explore, but instead of doing that, they don't do anything with either of them. Or rather, they do start, but it never expands anywhere past where it should be to the point where it would be interesting. The comedy premise never truly gets off the ground, as it always feels like it's circling the dream of the same sort of 5 jokes, which again, that can also work, but those jokes either need to be expanded on in a way to make them more complicated and funny, or you need to go kind of over the top and a little bit more absurd with it. But it kind of stays at the same level the entire time. It only very rarely ramps up to the point where after the first 5 or 6 episodes, it starts feeling dull. It starts feeling kind of boring. And then on the times it actually does try to go a little bit extra with it, like the time someone stopped time and she broke the concept of stopping time, which was a little bit insane, when kind of funny. It's often used one time and then kind of forgotten, or used one time, have a little bit of leeway with it, and then it becomes boring. And then there is the aspect of the trauma that she goes through, where she had someone who was close to her that was a adventurer that ended up passing away because of an adventure he went on. And it does exist. The action of them talking about the trauma does at least exist within the show, but again, it's never really expanded on. In fact, I kind of find this a bit more egregious because when they do talk about it and try to go through it, it's just a, hey, you can do that. You can get through it. And there's not really any real pushback or trauma response or any proper exploration of it. It's just like, yeah, I can. That doesn't work. This doesn't work here. Neither one of the concept that they have for the show either expands or does anything good. And so it ping-pongs back and forth from both of these things while also trying to add love interest, which is the only thing that really is expanded on, but not in a very interesting way. It's very pedantic and very bland. Even the power system they have, which foundationally I think is a really cool concept, where you have spells that have certain tiers, and the higher tier ones obviously destroy the spells in the bottom. But if the spells in the bottom could stack on top of each other, it could be pretty strong. I do like that system, but apart from a few other small things, that's it. That's pretty much sort of kind of the entire power system, and it's never really thought out or expanded upon. And again, I know I've been using the phrase expanded upon a lot, but that's kind of my whole problem with this show. It either A, has a concept it has, but doesn't want to really do anything with it, or B, decides it wants to do something with it, but does very little. You barely latch on to anything. That even comes down to a lot of the characters, where I will go as far to say Alina is the only semi-interesting character in the entire series. Either everyone's just kind of a one-note person that has no real personality, or they're written so cheesily that it's not even a level of cheese that you can appreciate. It's a level of cheese that's just kind of off-putting. And it sucks too, because I think the foundation of the story is so good. With enough time, love, and care within the actual exploration of everything, I think you have a really good story on your hands. You can go ahead, expand this power system a little bit, lean more into the comedy or more into the tragic stuff, do a little bit of expansion with that, give a little bit of lore, give a little bit of time for all these concepts to breathe and play more within the world of itself, and I think you got really something good here. Because right now, it doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to be. It doesn't feel like it has an identity that most people, I think, would want to latch on. Other than the first couple of episodes, there's nothing really special about Maybe A Receptionsit. And I really hope so. I really wanted to like this show. I gave it my all. And I will say, I wasn't off-put by anything. This isn't a bad show in the sense of what I would consider a bad show. It doesn't do anything necessarily bad. It doesn't do anything egregious. And nothing it does, I was off-put by. Just instead of this being an anime where the comedy is so good it gets to absurd levels that I end up cackling, or it's in an anime that explores a traumatic event on losing somebody and how that changes the course of your life forever, it's just an anime. That's it. Just a simple, plain old, run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-season anime. It doesn't do anything amazing. It doesn't do anything spectacular. It is just a show to be a show. And that's honestly the biggest compliment that I can give to Maybe A Receptionsit. I'm sure there's someone out there that likes this type of story, but for me, I needed so much more. Maybe this will get a season 2 out of the blue, and maybe it could build on something, and we'll see. But for right now, I don't think this is a very good show.
I'm like so gay.